Yeah, doesn't it? Well, good morning, councillors. Thank you. Good morning and welcome to our Strategy, Policy and Finance Committee meeting this morning. The 1st of July. Goodness, where's the year gone to? So welcome this morning. Apologies, please. Any apologies? Councillor Kent? I understand Councillor Gould is probably still unwell. Councillor Hunt? So, thank you. Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Your Worship. All those in favour that the apologies be accepted, please say aye. Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest? Thank you. Any urgent business? Thank you. So we'll go straight on to item 4, which is our presentations. And we have our first I know that we did look at this briefly the other day in our operations and monitoring, but there is a little bit of an update again. Thank you, and I'll hand this over to Una.
Good morning, councillors. You will recall at the Operations and Monitoring Committee we did provide a progress report on where we're up to with the Your Choice, the 2016 election review. But what we've got here and wanted to show you today was the presentation that the Working Party are taking out when they're going and visiting different ratepayer and community associations, visiting different groups, and it also forms part of the collateral package which we're using when we're just having conversations with the community. So what is Your Choice 2016 election review? So it's the council's opportunity to review its representation arrangements, and by law we have to legally do this at least once every 6 years. So this is our 6-year time frame. We last undertook one in 2013 or before 2013. So in simple terms, we need to consider how many elected members there may be, whether those elected members come from across the district or that we have a ward system. If there are to be wards, where would those ward boundaries be? The number of elected members that may be in each ward, and the look at whether or not you introduce community boards or even look to disestablish them if there was a need. So when we're looking at the number of elected members, we can have between 6 and 30 members representing our district, and that does include the mayor. So part of the representation review is an opportunity to look at that and to see whether the number of councillors we have allows the people in the community to actually have a decent contact and know that their views and that can be represented. So currently we have 1 mayor and 12 councillors, as you know, and we have our elections from across the entire district, so at large. We moved away to appoint 2 council elected members to that board. The question gets looked at around whether we have wards or at large. And if a district is to be divided into wards, does it provide more effective and a fairer way for residents to obtain access to elected members and to have their views heard? Wards could be geographical, and in the past that's how our ward system was set up. But there is also, within that, there's the opportunity to have a look at do wards or should wards actually look at representing in a greater detail communities of interest. So one component of this review is to actually have a look at our communities of interest within our district and to make a decision on whether those groups are adequately represented by those elected members around the table. So it's it's making people sort of think about moving away from communities of interest just being based on a geographical and more around who do people actually feel themselves being associated with. And in Rotorua, is there a strong enough, I guess, desire for that to be put in place? So key factors that could be looked at when we're considering communities of interest is that sense of community and belonging, whether there's similar demographic, socio-economic or ethnic characteristics, may come down to similarities in economic activity, could be dependence on shared facilities in an area, or it could be the physical and topographical features, maybe the history of the area, or it could be the rohi around our local iwi and that type of stuff. It may also be around transport and communication links. Another part of the representation review is looking at the need for community boards, and within a representation review there is the opportunity to establish more community boards, no community boards, stay as we are. So all of that is currently being looked at. And then within that you need to have a look at where those community boards may be set up and who they are representing, and also to look at the structure of that community board. So the present situation is the working party is currently going out and engaging. So all they're doing at the moment is taking a little bit of information out to the community around what we currently have, and then proposing some questions to get people to actually think about, is what we've got right now, does it still work for us? Or is there another way that we can look at to make sure that the community is represented? So all of that work is currently being undertaken by the community group, by the working party. They, as I said before, they are going out to as many different groups as they can do, piggybacking on as many different community meetings and stuff that they have. They've been down at the night market, which has been very successful, and just conversing with members of the community to, in part, provide awareness of how the district is currently represented, and to pose those questions around, is there something different that the community would like to see? So that process is currently underway, and by mid-July the working party will start taking that feedback and working up whether there's any general themes coming out of that. The idea then is to hopefully test those themes with some sort of community forum groups. So part of the feedback that we're currently calling for, we're asking people whether they would like to sign up to these little forums to sort of test the themes and that might come out of our engagement process. By the 26th of August, we have to have adopted an initial proposal, and that proposal comes to you for you to make that decision. So the working party will put forward a proposal. It could be, depending on what our feedback is, there may be a couple of proposals, and that will be for you to decide which one you take out to the community with. That then puts us into a formal public consultation process. So that is throughout the month of September and closing in early October. Then we go through, we will run some hearings on that, and at this point in time we've got penciled in the 29th and the 30th of October. And by the 12th of November, the council will then adopt a proposal. There is an objection and an appeal process in that, so we do have to notify what the council have adopted as their final proposal. And by the 19th of December, appeals or objections to that proposal can be received. At that point, if there is an objection or an appeal received, it is then in the hands of the Local Government Commission, and they will make a final determination. That final determination needs to be in by the 10th of April, and then following that, it's into the election preparation time. So this page here is just, I believe, is the back of our collateral where we're just asking people to support the Working Party in its efforts to develop a proposal for Council to consider. We're directing people to the website. We are asking people to complete a quick survey. We're also just collecting feedback and comments. There is a Facebook page, so that's slowly getting a little bit of traction. And the information sessions are more the piggybacking. That's us, the Working Party, going out to different groups. And the Working Party are just listed down the bottom there. And you will recall that we did run a expression of interest to engage our 3 non-elected members. That is the end. If there are any questions, I'm quite happy to take those.
Yes, thank you very much, Una. Yes, it's a very interesting piece of work, and it's good for all of us to know, what's involved. Councillor Bentley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Una, thanks for your presentation. That list of the Working Party, are they actively going out to, say, rural areas and consulting with those sort of people?
At this point in time, we are making our way around the lakes community groups. We've also had the federated farmers have asked us to come out and see them. So we're making our way out through the rural communities now as well, and making contact with the ratepayer associations and that out there.
Councillor Sharank.
Madam Chair, Una, you mentioned at the August stage that we go back with our choice. Do we go back with what it always seems to be these days, just one preferred option, or can we go back out with more than one?
You have to go out with one proposal, but it may mean the Working Party may actually bring a couple of proposals to you. Yep.
Councillor Maxwell.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. Now, I'm pleased with the work that's been done by the Working Party at the moment. Will we get a copy of that timeline that you got?
Councillor, you should already have the timeline. It was provided to you all. Every councillor got given a pack. It was in a white envelope, and all the collateral with all the dates are on that.
And I see on 16th of April, so everything has to be done by then, and it comes into effect for the October election of next year, is it? And one more last question, in that you're saying that we can consider community boards or not. Wasn't that put in place by the something commission, and can we touch that or can't?
When the community board was introduced,
Yes.
It wasn't a proposal that was endorsed by
That's right.
council. So that actually came through the appeal and objection process, and it was the Local Government Commission that put that in place. Excuse me. What we can do is, if there is a need to look at more community boards or no community boards or keeping the status quo, all of that is up for review.
Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Donaldson, then Your Worship.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. My understanding was that the Local Government Commission ruling on the Rotorua Lakes Community Board was that it was for a minimum of 2 terms, so it is reviewable at this stage as part of your process.
Yes, that's true. Your Worship.
Just for people to be able to contact, and I know your points of entry, but is your choice on the cover of our website, Rotorua Lakes, so they go straight to that? Oh, that's great. And then we can also get the rates flipper.
I can't comment on the rates flipper, but your choice is definitely on the front page of the website with the little icon on the front there.
And as we progress over the months, we have got quite a comprehensive communication strategy that's updating people as well, let alone the council, yes. So thank you very much, Una. No further questions. Thank you. We can move on to our Recommendation 1. and that's the proposed draft local alcohol policy. So can I have please a mover and a seconder that we receive the report, the proposed draft local alcohol policy deliberations? Thank you. Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor McVicker, seconded by Councillor Schrank. All those in favour, please say aye. Thank you. Now we'll have somebody, is it Dave, to talk to this report? Or is